prosecutor, the only thing better than a smoking gun is 2 smoking guns, or 4, 6, or 8, or heck, maybe a dozen. We're now at the end of week 4 of testimony in the RICO and sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs, and a new piece of incontrovertible evidence seems to be dropping every day. For shock value alone, the biggest smoking gun to date is a government exhibit that by itself proves nothing that the feds are actually alleging. It's that infamous hotel surveillance video showing Diddy brutally beating his girlfriend in 2016. It definitely shows he is a horrible guy. Horrible. But does it show that he's a racketeer? It depends on the smoking guns that you might pile on top of it. You know, the building blocks to RICO. Of course, the defense can have smoking guns too, and we're starting to see those. Until the case is fully laid out, I am relying on my very smart lawyer friends to tell me what's what. And Tarlika Nunes-Navarro is high on that list. She's a former judge, a former prosecutor, and a former defense attorney who's currently the dean of the St. Thomas University Law School. She and I talked about the Diddy trial just the other day. So many people are caught up in the salacious stuff, right? The freak-off descriptions, the baby oil and all that business. But fewer people are talking about the actual charge at hand, right? Like sex trafficking or racketeering. Do you think that the prosecution thus far, with this star witness in particular, has been able to actually put together a case and show the jury the elements of those crimes, sex trafficking and racketeering?
I do. I think they did a great job for the first week of trial. I mean, we have a long way to go. They have 8 weeks, 7, 8 weeks left. And so they don't have to prove all of the elements in this first week. And I think we've all been very hard on the prosecution. I think they have laid a very solid foundation with Cassie's testimony to date. And I think that they did a wonderful job with the first 3 days. I do think that the defense, when I put my defense hat on, I do applaud them for poking holes in some of her testimony. But I think that the prosecution has done a very solid job thus far.
So let's talk about the really tricky stuff, and that is the nuances of domestic violence. Again, your background in your legal practice has just been remarkable for this. Cassie Ventura told the jury and the courtroom today that she doesn't hate Diddy. Here's a quick series of messages. The defense says, you know, do you hate Combs now? Ventura says, I don't hate him. The defense says, do you still have love for him? And Ventura says, I have love for the past and what it was. Do you think that a jury needs an expert on the stand to explain how tricky domestic violence is, that you can be two things? You can be a victim of domestic violence and be in love with your abuser.
You know, I think we underestimate jurors. They know what's going on. They're in the courtroom. They're watching the body language of the witness. And I think an expert's great, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that you know, this is a standard. This is what we see. When I was on the bench in domestic violence, when I was on the bench in criminal, you would see this in sex traffickers. This is the psychology of abuse. 80% of victims go back to their aggressors or their quote, what the defense would call co-defendants. It's a very slippery slope. Are they part of the racketeering? Are they part of the conspiracy? Or are they threatened? And I think we've all seen with the video that she was scared. And every time that she tried to leave, we all saw what happened. And so I think that's what the prosecution really has to overcome. It's why didn't she leave?
It's a tough one.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.